Palestine and the Palestinians have been in the news a lot lately, and for good reason. Ever since the October 2023 invasion of Gaza by Israel, there has been non-stop news concerning Israel and the Palestinians. As of the time that I'm making this video, there has been no resolution of the conflict other than the fact that Israel has occupied most of Gaza and is now preparing to attack the city of Rafah. So that means I'm making this video in early May of 2024. But it's not like the Palestinians were unheard of before this. For decades, any news related to Israel has often contained reference to the Palestinians. Recently in Western Europe and North America, Palestinian students and immigrants have staged demonstrations on campuses and in other public places protesting Israel's invasion of Gaza. But who are these Palestinians that we hear so much about? Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Bogart with Aspect Ministries. Please take a moment of your time to subscribe to this channel and like this video. Your help will really boost our ability to get our message out. So let's start with a little background on the Palestinians. Palestinians are native non-Jewish people in the region of what used to be called Palestine. This region is now comprised of Israel itself, as well as areas known by most of the world as the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. The name Palestine comes from an ancient people who lived in Bible times called the Philistines. These Philistines actually occupied the area of present-day Gaza. In Arabic, the term Palestine is Philistiniya. The Romans often referred to this region in the Eastern Mediterranean by the name Palestine, as did the Crusaders in the Middle Ages. The British picked up on that name when they acquired the rule over the region after their victory in World War I. Now, backing up a bit, after the Roman Empire collapsed in the West just before 500 AD, the overlordship of Palestine fell to what we now call the Byzantine Empire, which was the Christian-based continuation of the Roman Empire in the Eastern Mediterranean. In the 600s AD, the area was conquered and mostly converted to Islam by the Arabic armies out of Saudi Arabia. Later, leadership of world Islam passed from the Arabs to the Turks, and it was mainly the Turks who led the opposition against the European Crusaders in the Middle Ages. Turkish rule continued until the end of World War I, when Turkey was defeated along with their allies, Austria and Germany. Britain and France then divided up the Ottoman Turkish Empire between themselves, and that is how Britain came to rule Palestine until Israel became a state in 1948. Meantime, starting in the late 1800s, Jews from around the world began to emigrate back to Palestine, at first in small groups. Often these Jewish communities lived in relative peace with their Arab neighbors. The trickle of emigration, however, became a flood after World War II, when many Jews decided that the survival of the Jewish people depended upon a secure, Jewish-run state. The modern Palestinian crisis really started when Israel gained national status in 1948. The Muslim nations surrounding Israel were determined, though, to prevent the existence of a Jewish state in the region. So a coalition of Egypt, Jordan, Syria, and others came together to put an end to Israel as it was being born. They warned the non-Jewish residents of the region to get out ahead of a massive Arab invasion that would come from multiple directions. Many Palestinians did leave. However, they were often not welcomed into the nations to which they fled for safety. Some went to Lebanon, some went to Egypt and Syria, some simply emigrated to more distant parts of the world. But the bulk of the Palestinian refugees settled in Jordan. In those communities, they mostly did not assimilate into the general population, but remained as refugees, oftentimes in hastily constructed camps and neighborhoods. Now, their host nations promised that sooner or later they'd be able to return home. But Israel's miraculous, and I emphasize miraculous, victories in 1948 and again in 1967 and 1973 made it clear that a return would not happen anytime soon, if ever. Now, those who did not flee were split even further. Palestinians who lived within the territorial boundaries of this state of Israel were allowed Israeli citizenship and representation in the Knesset, which is the parliamentary body of the Israeli government. They enjoy most of the status and benefits of Israeli citizenship, although they don't usually serve in the military or other sensitive positions that could compromise national security. Other Palestinians who did not live within the territorial boundaries of Israel live in Israeli-controlled areas. In fact, there are 3 of these areas designated A, B, and C. Area A includes the Gaza Strip and certain parts of what the world calls the West Bank. Israel calls this area Judea and Samaria. Area A is governed by various Palestinian councils and government structures. Israel stays out of Area A unless there is some imminent threat, and such a threat is the official reason why Israel invaded Gaza back in October. Area B in the West Bank divides rule between Palestinians and Israel. Palestinians control local rule and issues while Israel controls highways, roads, and telecommunications in order to provide security. Area C is fully controlled by Israel because much of this area is close to the Israeli border, and so its proximity makes Israel very vulnerable to terrorist attacks. Area C also includes most of the Israeli settlements that have caused so much controversy around the world. Although Area C is controlled by Israel, local education, medical care, and other services are often provided by local Palestinian organizations. Palestinians have their own flag, their own organizations and political parties, and so forth. Hamas has ruled the Gaza Strip since 2007. It arose as an offshoot of the International Muslim Brotherhood after the riots and unrest of the First Intifada, or Arab Uprising, in 1987. An older party, the Palestine Liberation Organization, or PLO, was headed by Yasser Arafat until his death in 2004. Since then, it's been ruled by Mahmoud Abbas. Other organizations include the Palestine Authority and a group called Fatah, which is associated with the PLO and in effect rules the West Bank. Fatah and Hamas have been in serious conflict in recent years over supreme leadership of all Palestinians, and there's been some bloodshed as a result. And all of these groups are dedicated to one degree or another, and by one means or another, to ending Israel's existence in the region. They all aim at establishing a Palestinian state from the Jordan River in the east to the Mediterranean Sea in the west. So in order to understand Palestinians and the ongoing conflict with Israel, more information is needed. But this video is long enough for one sitting, so I think I'll pick up from here on in the next video. And this is Dr. Michael Bogart with Aspect Ministries. Please remember to subscribe to this channel, and thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next video.